Hi, so if you're new here, my name is Elise. I'm 26 and I breed butterflies and moths for a living. Not really for a living, it's more of a hobby. So I thought I'd sit down and do a quick question and answer video because I get a lot of interest in what I do and a lot of people have questions, which I don't always answer the best in person because I'm quite an awkward person. So sitting down and doing it in front of a camera is much easier because yeah, it's just much easier. But anyways, so I'm going to be reading the questions off of my mum's phone because I'm using my phone to record the video. So if you see me looking at this, it's because my questions and answers are on here. So starting off with the most popular question that I get asked by pretty much everybody that knows about my hobby: what made you interested in butterflies and moths? As most of my friends know, it was heartbreak and loss which led me to discover my love for insects. But I suppose for my entire life I've always had a love for the, unloved animals and things such as, pigeons, rats, raccoons, frogs, all of those, gross things. The second question is, what do butterflies and moths eat? So butterflies don't actually have mouths. Well, they do, but it's not the kind of mouth that can bite and chew. Instead, they have something called a proboscis, and it's a long tube-like mouth part which kind of like acts like a straw for the butterflies to drink through. So it's not really eating as such. I suppose you could say it's drinking. Butterflies drink nectar from flowers, but you can make your own at home. Moths are really similar, so some have a proboscis which works in the same way as what butterflies do, but some moths have no mouth parts at all, which means that they don't require feeding. Question number 3. So, is breeding butterflies and moths important? If yes, why? So, yes, breeding native butterflies and moths is very important for obvious reasons. They're endangered due to habitat loss, pesticides, climate change and light pollution, all things which contribute to the decline of moths. Non-native species are not as important, but lots of fun and, lots to learn about them as well. Question 4. If butterflies and moths became extinct, what would happen? So butterflies and moths are pollinators, which help our plants to reproduce. So without them, our plants would really struggle. Butterflies and moths are also an important food source for many animals, such as birds, bats, mammals and fish. Sorry, my phone literally just cut off. And if butterfly and moth species decline, other species that rely on them may also vanish. Question 5, I think it is. Why do you trap moths? So moth trapping is actually quite important because it helps us to keep track of particular species and how many of them are around. So all the moths are identified and then records are uploaded online. It's also a lot of fun, and the moths are always released back into the wild after a record is made of them. I mean, there is the occasional time where I will keep them to breed, but yeah, no moths are ever harmed. Question 6. Do moth traps hurt moths? So the word trap makes us think that something bad when it's not really the case with moth traps. So moth traps don't harm moths at all. The light is used to attract the moths, not harm them. Many moth trappers actually use egg cartons in the bottom of their trap, which kind of like offers a nice shelter for moths to hide, but also so that they don't bash themselves up, flying around the trap. So I thought I would answer a few Facebook questions as well, because there's quite a few on Facebook. Dawn would like to know, where and how do you keep them? So I don't actually have any in here at the minute, but they are kept in net cages, or mesh cages, I guess. And where? So you can have them anywhere in your house. Some moths like warmth, some don't, some like humidity, some don't. So it's kind of just whatever room is most suitable for that species. That's kind of like where I place them. But they can be anywhere, you know. You can even keep them in your garden if you wanted to. Obviously in a net cage, because otherwise they'll fly away. What do you do with the butterflies / moths when they hatch? So butterflies and moths don't actually hatch. Only eggs can hatch. So when it comes to moths and butterflies, when they are born, I suppose you could say, it is called eclosing or emerging. And what do I do with them when they hatch? Not a lot, really. They see, I'm doing it now. They emerge in their cage, and I just let them do their business. Like, I don't really bother them until they've, you know, if I'm breeding, I won't really bother them until they've done that. But yeah, they don't really do a whole lot. And they don't really require a whole lot either. This question is from Zoe, and she's asking, how long does it take for them to hatch from the eggs? So it does vary a little bit. I mean, I think it's about 7 to 10 days normally, but I'm sure it can vary with different species, maybe a little less time than that. Yeah, actually, in the summer when it's really hot, I've found eggs can hatch from 4 to 5 days old, and some literally will take a full 10 days. So it really does vary from species to species. How long are they caterpillars for? So this also really varies. I mean, I've had some that I've been raising for about 3 months. But yeah, it really does vary. Do they eat different things at different stages? That's actually a really interesting question. They don't. They tend to stick to one food plant. I really like that question. I don't know why. It's just because nobody's ever asked me that one before. What's your favourite type? Favourite butterfly has got to be the white Morpho polyphemus. And then you have, what's my favourite moth? My favourite moth has got to be, I'm going to say the African peach moth. Scientific name is Aegibolis valentina. There's some really good questions here. How many do I have? So right now I actually only have one living butterfly and no moths. But it changes all the time. This time of year there's not much around because obviously it's cold, so yeah, I don't have that many right now. Do you have to find a babysitter? Actually no, but I have babysat for friends' caterpillars. So there's a lot more questions, but I will have to answer them in another video another time. Thank you very much for watching, and if anybody has any more questions, feel free to send them to me in a message or leave a comment, whatever. Yeah. Thanks for having me.